definitely the one we're going to be looking at for Flash Wolves. He's a huge carry. He's done really well this entire tournament. The star player for these guys, but along with Karsa. Anytime I mention the mid laner, I also have to tack on the jungler.
This conjoined twin.
Exactly.
Yeah. We know the Alistar ban was going to be there. Lelouch gets taken out as well from the side of LMS here. The Caitlyn may be left up, or they're going to double up on 80 carries.
Yeah, the Alistar, when Flash Wolves played against the other top 4 teams, their only wins came on that Alistar pick. Yes, they have wins on other champions, but that's not against the top 4 teams here at this tournament.
And remember the last game where Sword Art tried to steal away the Bard, and he did not have the timings down with that champion. It takes a lot of practice, as Crepo knows very well, to get those timings down perfectly. But this is another thing, you know, with the 80 carry bans, a lot of people have been theorizing what is really good against CLG, and everybody's looking at Stixxay trying to pinch his champion pool. This is something I think people are really underestimating about CLG, and Stixxay's champion pool is quite wide. He can also play the Ezreal, which people have kind of left off. And it's also a steal away from NL. So I'm curious if that comes up in this series for CLG.
Yeah, and CLG, aside from the Alistar targeting Maple with 2 playmaking champions, yes, one in the late game, one in the kind of the early game for making picks, but he showed us that on that Gangplank he can be absolutely destructive, even picking off people where you would actually not expect it. That was that one phase where he curved the barrels, you know, to really pick somebody off on the final push. Maple, extraordinary Gangplank. I think it's good banning it on game 1, at least for CLG to get their comfort in.
It's definitely top-notch. I feel like as we progress in the series, if CLG run into some trouble, that's going to be one of the first ones to drop, because Maple's also extremely scary on these assassins. His LeBlanc, his Fizz. I'm very curious as to what direction they are going to go with.
Since Azir and Ryze are both open here in kind of the mid lane trifecta,
and
LeBlanc's out, we likely can expect almost a Kindred pick here. I'm sure they're discussing it. Kindred fell heavily in priority yesterday in the series, but it seems to be a pick that just works well for Smithy and well for the way CLG approach their team fights.
I do really love Kindred right now. I mean, 6.8, one of the queens of the meta. However, the Karsa is one of the players who can really utilize that Nidalee extremely well, and she has also gone through the picks and ban phase. Previously, you know, we've criticized a lot of the junglers here at MSI for not being able to use the champion well. I think Karsa can step up and do that. Maybe not quite as well as MLG showed, but definitely scared about that one.
Who are you looking to lock in the Ryze into then the expected Azir? I mean, nobody's surprised that this matchup comes out, but Ryze actually gets pushed in by Azir early, especially if you have the favorable jungle matchup, because then you can put the pressure. And in team fights, Azir plays well into Ryze.
Yeah, and this is where it's not just purely about the draft by itself, it's about the players you're working with. Ryze is one of Huhi's favorite champions. He feels much more comfortable on Ryze than he does on the Azir, as many people have seen, you know, throughout the play.
Interesting that then Flash Wolves don't even want to lock in a jungler. They just instantly want to reveal the Azir, even though they could wait, because it wouldn't be likely to be stolen, because Ryze Azir doesn't really work that well. And the Soraka steal has really high value here. Because it works well against Ryze, and it is a steal of Aphromo.
Exactly. It shuts down Ryze so heavily in the team fight, so it's going to really put a lot of extra emphasis on who he's positioning, which people were already looking at.
Double value if you put it on the Kindred ulti, in the Ryze in the Kindred ulti.
I mean,
double
triple value if you... Penta value if you get all 5 people in it, right, Grandpa? I mean, it's just how many people can you silence, I guess?
Keep adding multipliers.
Yeah. But the real question is, you know, will he be able to use this? Because last time Sword Art tried to steal away a champion from Aphromo, he flopped.
Yep.
Chronologic Gaming with a very aggressive team to start this one off the bat. The double teleports are there. Will it be matched by the LMS, and Sivir's locked in for NL as well, so it could be forward from both teams here.
Second pickup here for CLG.
I want to see the Caitlyn come out into the Sivir matchup. That is almost a guaranteed swap for Flash Wolves, and they actually haven't really shown that great of a lane swap in this tournament so far. Could be an opening for CLG.
Yeah, Flash Wolves trying to replicate that SKT lane of the Sivir auto-pushing with the healing from Soraka. But this time around, I do want to also mention the Darshan matchup, because he's had to take the Poppy into Echo matchup, which is, you know, losing it. Yeah, exactly. A lot of top laners have been willing to take that, you know, and just be that team fight presence. A little bit more reliable there with the Poppy. But Darshan, I really am curious how he's going to be able to use this Echo, because you can get a CS lead, you can get a 1 versus 1 lead, and you can try and pressure that way.
Oh, this is a very fun matchup to both play on each end. Sivir Soraka into Bard Kalista is very, very treacherous, because you just got to calculate and sustain it, and it's so hard to really gauge just how punishing it can be. If you take one bad trade as a Kalista Bard lane, suddenly you can never commit for an all-in anymore, but you always have kill pressure, because it's very hard to predict the spell shield on the rend.
Yeah, look for Aphromoo to try and control the side brush if they end up in the 2 versus 2, and be willing to flash for the ignite kill. He goes for flash, cosmic binding, ignite kills very often when people are even at like 75%.
Yeah, if you look at it though, Flash was looking to secure maybe a more aggressive version of the Soraka Sivir if they lane it.
Yeah.
Yesterday we saw Wolfenbang play it, but they played it so far back that they never used kind of the potential in that lane, which is push and then sustain and then kind of war of attrition your opponent down. With the aggressive jungle in Elise, though, having pushing mid and bot can actually be a strategy for them to employ and then get deep vision in CLG's jungle.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit curious to me because I feel like the way when you play defensive and you play safer with this setup, the Azir, Soraka, and Sivir is the better way to play it. You know, you want to play the numbers, right? A slightly higher percentage, more times out of 100, you are going to come away with victory if you play it a little bit safer. And just try and get to that point where you've got the Sivir wave clear, you have Azir late game, and they massacre people in team fights.
And the summoners say it right now, if you look on the side of LMS, Maple may switch, but that's Exhauster running, expecting CLG to be aggressive, and them expecting to hang back.
Yeah, that's a really good point to bring up. Double
switch.
Exhaust provides a lot of teamfight presence. However,
Used to.
they're swapping at the last second. It was a great point. I wish they would have gone into it so we could see the difference. However, trying to match the teleports here for the mid game.
Yeah, Azir isn't the best teleporting into fights, but it's very hard for Azir to blind face like a river into a Ryze 2. That's maybe why he just wants to trail with the teleport and just use his push. Whenever Ryze leaves the lane, just push in the wave. If he shows up, then you debate, do I follow with teleport or do I take down his turret?
Yeah, we'll see, you know, how this plays out, because if he ends up not getting punished in all ins and they are not successful in killing the Azir, then technically it is going to be the advantage to be able to have that teleport to get back to lane or to assert the cross-map pressure.
All right, you know how to stay connected with us on Twitter. Tell us who you think is going to take the series. Tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag CLG win or the hashtag Flash Wolves win. You can see NA currently owning the Rift with their 2-0 against Flash Wolves. Now, can they keep it going in this semifinal?